A doctor was working at a hospital where the patients were tagged with colored bands, green for alive and red for deceased. One night, the doctor was instructed to get a few supplies from the basement of the hospital, so he headed to the lift. The lift doors opened, and there was a patient inside, minding her own business. Patients were allowed to roam around the hospital to stretch, especially those who had stayed long. The rule was to be back in their rooms before 10. The doctor smiled at the patient before pressing the number for the basement. He found it unusual that the woman didn't have a button already pressed. He wondered if she was heading to the basement too. The lift finally reached the floor where the doors opened. In the distance, a man was limping towards the elevator, and in a panic, the doctor slammed the elevator button to close. It finally did, and the lift began to ascend back up, the doctor's heart pounding. "Why did you do that?" "He was trying to use the lift," the woman stated, annoyed. "Did you see his wrist?" The doctor asked. "It was red. He died last night. I would know because I did his surgery." The woman lifted her wrist and smiled strangely, saying, "Like this one?" "We bought an old house, my boyfriend and I. He's in charge of the new construction, converting the kitchen into the master bedroom, for instance, while I'm on wallpaper removal duty. The previous owner papered every wall and ceiling. Removing it is brutal, but oddly satisfying. The best feeling is getting a long peel, similar to your skin when you're peeling from a sunburn. I don't know about you, but I kind of make a game out of peeling, in search of the longest piece before it tears." Under a corner section of paper in every room is a person's name and a date. Curiosity got the best of me one night when I Googled one of the names and discovered the person was a missing person, the missing date matching the date under the wallpaper. The next day, I made a list of all the names and dates. Sure enough, each name was for a missing person with dates to match. We notified the police, who naturally sent out the crime scene team. I overheard one text say, "Yup, it's human." "Human? What's human?" "Ma'am, where is the material you removed from the walls already? This isn't wallpaper you were removing." When I was a child, my family moved to a big old two-story house with spacious, empty rooms and creaking floorboards. Both my parents worked, so I was often alone when I came home from school. One early evening when I came home, it was still dark in the house. I called out, "Mom," and heard her singing voice say, "Yees," from upstairs. I called her again as I climbed the stairs to see which room she was in and again got the same, "Yees," reply. We were decorating at the time, and I didn't know my way around the maze of rooms, but she was in one of the far ones, right down the hall. I felt uneasy, but I figured that was only natural, so I rushed forward to see my mom, relying on the assurance that her presence would calm my fears, as a mother's presence always does. Just as I reached for the handle of the door to let myself into the room, I heard the front door downstairs open, and my mother called, "Sweetie, are you home?" in a cheery voice. I jumped back, startled, and ran down the stairs to her. But as I glanced back from the top of the stairs, the door to the room slowly opened a crack. For a brief moment, I saw something strange in there, and I don't know what it was, but it was staring at me.